welcome to This Day. It is Wednesday and it's August 5th. Now we went into our brain teaser trunk and we found a really good one for you today. So let's go ahead and read that to start off. First, I threw away the outside and cooked the inside. Then I ate the outside and threw away the inside. What did I eat? So that's a good one. So we'll have the answer for you later on in our program this morning. Okay, we have one meeting to tell you about today. It is the GRF Mobility and Vehicles Committee, and that will be at 11 a.m., and that is a virtual meeting, but you could always watch it at lagunawoodsvillage.com/meetings. Now, on our show today, I am very happy to bring you Ronnie Andrews. Now, Ronnie Andrews is the president and CEO of Oncocyte, and he has been in the diagnostic world for over 30 years. And he has some great information for us about COVID-19 testing and some numbers across the country that he wanted to share with us. So he will be our show today, and great information, so I think you're really gonna like that. Then of course I will have some community information for Laguna Woods Village right here, right after him. So great show today. Let's go ahead and give you the resources as always. We have ochealthinfo.com. We have cdc.gov and then covid19.ca.gov for the governor's reopening plans. You can always call their hotline, which is the county hotline, 714-834-2000, or you could go to our website, which is lagunawoodsvillagealerts.com, or you could email us any questions at info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Our weather this week is still looking delightful. Today we are looking at some temperatures not too hot, so we're looking at about 77, 63. And then Thursday we are looking at 74, 59. By the weekend we are looking very lovely, so it's not going to be too hot. Saturday looks like the warmest at about 78, 60, and then sunshine for Sunday, 77, 61. Now our sunrise this morning was 6:06. And the sunset will be 7:47. Mark Rabinowitz, thank you so much for that lovely photo from Alaska. Now, if we couldn't see all of the photo, it looks pretty darn nice there, but it has some runoff down below of the glacier. So it was really nice, so thank you. Now, of course, if you have a photo of your vacation that you would like to share with us, please send it to our email address, which is lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. When we return, we will have Ronnie Andrews from Oncocyte, so stay tuned.
Are you or someone you love suffering from worsening memory loss? This may be Alzheimer's disease. A new study is testing an investigational drug to treat Alzheimer's. Research centers in Orange County are seeking participants 55 to 80 years old with Alzheimer's to take part in the GAIN research study. Participants will receive study medications and testing at no cost, and compensation for time and travel may also be provided. Call today, 714-912-9663, or visit gaintrial.com.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Ronnie Andrews, who is the president and CEO of Oncocyte. And we had him on our Your Health program, but he's here to tell us a little bit more about some of the testing that's going on. Ronnie, thank you for joining us again.
Lisa, thanks for having me again.
You know, you are a wealth of information, as I told you last time. And this time I wanted to have you on our ThisDay program, you know, so we can really keep up to date what's going on in the testing arena. So since the last time that I talked to you, which has been about 2 months, can you sort of tell us where we're at with some of our testing right now?
Sure. Let me give you an update. I mean, we've had, as you might imagine, a tsunami of companies diving into this, and you can probably see an announcement every day of a new emergency use authorization by the FDA of somebody that's releasing a test. And so if you remember from the last discussion when we were together, there's two types of tests. There's the PCR test, which looks at the direct virus in your nasal passages or in your throat, and that is for active disease. And then there's the antibody test, or sometimes called serological testing, which actually looks at to see if your body's created immunity against the virus. And that test is typically run in blood. It's a blood sample. And so what's happened is, since you and I met last time, we've had a plethora of folks join in. We now have over 188 companies with emergency use authorization for an antibody test, which is very interesting. I can explain why in a second. And we have 87 companies with emergency use authorization for a PCR test, or the direct virus test that tells you if you have active disease. Interestingly enough, though, of all those, there's only 8 companies that have a PCR or a test for the direct virus that have been through the final FDA work that they needed to prove sensitivity and specificity, which is really important for your listeners to understand. And those are the tests that are typically now deployed in most of the large reference labs around the United States. And those tests are from companies like Abbott, Roche, Thermo Fisher, et cetera, QIAGEN, and some well-known diagnostic companies. They do this for a living, and they have gotten their products through the FDA and are actually in labs doing this testing today.
Right.
On the antibody test side, there's 188 companies, as I said, but only 14 of those companies have actually been through the FDA process, so we can actually trust those results from the blood test to see if the patients developed antibodies. And so real important, because you see all kinds of media news about this and that, and it's important to note that unless those antibody tests are being run in one of these, I would say FDA blessed, on one of these FDA blessed tests, you know, it's really challenging to know whether they're accurate or not. And most of the rapid tests, unfortunately, which is what we had hoped to have by now, just aren't there in terms of their ability, sensitivity and specificity wise, to actually tell someone, have I really had the disease or not? So let me pause there, but we've had a lot happen since March, and that's great. The science community and the diagnostic community can really come in big, but it's still important to sort out sort of what's real and what's Memorex.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I did have a friend of mine who went early on to get testing thinking that she was getting the COVID-19 test. However, they gave her a blood test. Now, if somebody's had a blood test, that's not the correct test.
Yeah, no, if you're looking for active disease, that's still, unfortunately, the deep nasal swab that you see at the testing facilities around Orange County. And now some tests are coming out with a saliva claim, which will be much easier, so you can just get a swab of your throat. The nasal swab, unless it's done correctly, can still give false results. And so it's really important that you get that from a healthcare professional. If they have to, you know, one of my buddies, he just got it related to almost getting brain surgery. They had to go way up in there, and they do have to swab deep into the nasal passages to make sure they get enough access to virus so that you can create a result that's accurate.
Yes, I did hear it is actually not a pleasant thing to have happen. But, you know, what's worse? You know, there could be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, there has been a delay in testing. I know you addressed that a little bit in regards to now we're up to a 5-day lag time. So what actually caused that? Was it data, or was it the actual lag time from the labs?
Well, way back in when we met first time, the diagnostics world was not quite prepared for the rapid onset of this virus. And we can talk about, there's all kinds of, you know, postulations as to why that happened. The fact is, once the U.S. diagnostics world got on this, they got on it big, as evidenced by the number of companies that now have tests. So, and the challenge we had in the beginning was just getting the test deployed in these large reference labs, getting enough kits on the market. Today, though, I can tell you one of the largest manufacturers of those kits, who you know well, Thermo Fisher Scientific, you know, they're up way up above 5 million tests a month. And so if you combine that with all the other manufacturers, we have plenty of capacity. The challenge is in the shipping and then the actual accessioning and then running these, the instrument capacity typically is limited on a daily basis. And so what you're seeing is, just because of the spike, you're seeing a rapid onset of more people wanting to be tested. You know, I called around for our interview today, and it looks like the average wait time in Orange County, depending on where you go to get tested, is somewhere between 5 and 7 days. Most places are less than 5 days today. I did see a report, you probably saw the same thing and made some inquiries about it, that there was a 12, 15-day lag time in certain areas. And come to find out, that was not the testing lag. That was actually the portal by which they deliver the results had some type of glitch in it, and they lost a bunch of results, had to go back and recover them. But all in all, if one of your viewers wants to go get tested today, and it'll be about 3 to 5 days on average before they'll get those results back. And obviously, if you think you've been exposed and that wait time is that long, you need to take precautions and not be around people that you know are vulnerable. I mean, this is still a disease of the vulnerable, unfortunately, and it's disproportionately affecting elderly people that have comorbidities. Even here in Orange County, that's the large percentage of unfortunate deaths are around, you know, people that are older and have comorbidities. And so healthy young people just aren't getting sick, and they're not going to the hospital, but infecting a lot of people. So if you think you've been exposed, it's important, get the test, wait the period, and then when you know you're negative, you can get back out and do your activities.
Right. Well, definitely good advice. In fact, Laguna Woods Village as a whole, not necessarily in the village, has done a really good job. I mean, they've stayed in, they've worn their masks, they do the distancing, and we've been able to keep our numbers very low. I think the last time we checked was, you know, somewhere in the mid 30s. So, I mean, we have been able to keep it at a very low number.
Yeah, I pulled the numbers, and as compared to other areas in Orange County, especially compared to North Orange County or even Irvine, very low numbers. And so I would just say, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's
yeah, exactly. Now, you know, the numbers, as you mentioned, we are seeing a little bit of a drop off. But before I get into why you think that is, I'd like to know about some of the vaccines that we have been hearing so much about in the media. I mean, obviously, there's so much information. It's really hard for all of us layman folks to really understand it. So if you could sort of dissect that a little bit and spell it out for us in layman's term, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And just, you know, I don't want to get too scientific here, but let me just lay it out there that that we have a very unique opportunity now with over 250 vaccines in play. When we were together in March, I had done as much research as I could, and you asked me a question, and I kind of guessed. I thought there'd be maybe 100 companies that, or 100 targets that we would go after. Well, there's over 250. And the interesting thing is we have really 3 approaches that seem to be working. You've all heard of Moderna and their messenger RNA, synthetic messenger RNA vaccine. It did very well in its phase 1 safety trials. They only had 1 class 3 event, and that was just really redness around the infection site. So to have only 1 in a new vaccine like that is very unique. And so, but that's the first time we've really tried this approach in what I would call a vaccine against a flu type or a coronavirus. The ones that seem to be working most are the ones where they take attenuated pieces of the virus itself and they inject, and then they get the immune response around that, and they get antibodies built up. And that way, when you get exposed, your body builds back. So out of 250 in play, we have 6 now in phase 3 clinical trials. That's very exciting, actually. I know you can hear the media talk about it all day long, but the rapid path that we're on may not lead to anything. But I would bet, if I were a betting man, I'd bet by late November we have at least something that can help the high risk patients, so that we go into the flu season without any hopefully with protection for the high risk patients. And I do believe that the Pfizer application is doing well, and I've seen some of the early phase 3 data. It looks very good. And so by wintertime, it's very plausible that we'll have a couple of vaccines. And, you know, I get asked all the time, will you take the vaccine? And my answer is this: look, I want to save it for people that are high risk. I happen to be very blessed with good health. And you know, I know that healthy people with no comorbidities have today, right now, at my age, I have a 0.174% chance of, if I got it, going to the hospital. So I'm very unlikely that it'll really impact me personally. So we want to make sure those vaccines get to the vulnerable and protect them. And so I do think there's exciting news out of the vaccine world. I'm more bullish than a lot of people around that, because most people have been around watching vaccines over time, and they take forever. But we're in a new era. Remember, when we did the H1N1 virus back in the swine flu years in 2009, it took us almost 2 months to sequence the virus itself. Today, we sequence it in a day. And so the speed at which we can look and iterate different things against these viruses has increased thousandfold. So I have a lot of confidence in the world that as a science world that we live in, and I do believe that we'll see success out of this, and hopefully by the wintertime.
Well, that's good news, most definitely. And it seems like that is the target, is around, fall, winter time, which is, like you said, flu season as well. So hopefully we will have something by then. And then just lastly, real quick, let's talk a little bit about some of the current numbers that we're seeing. We are seeing a fall as a nation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're seeing, the numbers for the nation are pretty, right now. There's been a recent spike, as you know, across the country. It looks like, I just looked at the data yesterday from the CDC, and then looked at Johns Hopkins and a couple of the other websites that track this. It looks like in all the hot spots that the spike has now turned the other way. We're seeing a decrease across almost every state, including California, in the number of daily samples. And I think, I'm sure most of your viewers follow the Orange County data, but the Orange County data is really pretty encouraging. We've got, today we've been testing and have tested about 14% of the population. Right now we've had about 38,000 positive cases, but right now in hospitals across Orange County, we have about 555 people in the hospital. We have plenty of capacity in the hospitals themselves. And the ICU bed utilization, which, keep in mind, ICU utilization is typically in the 55 to 65% anyway without a viral pandemic. And today we've got about 35% capacity left. So it looks like we're in a good place from ICU beds, and the number of people in ICU are declining over the last 7 days. And if you look at the rolling 7-day averages, Lisa, for the number of cases, positive cases in Orange County, the high that we saw in the spike was 993 cases on June 30th. And yesterday we had 403 cases. So you can see almost a 50% reduction in daily cases. So it does look like the spike is turning. And that is good news for all of us, and especially given the fact that our healthcare workers have done a phenomenal job of triaging patients and only keeping the very sick in ICU beds and moving the rest to normal beds. And you might imagine we're seeing less deaths, way less deaths. And the reason is, and speaking with some of my friends that run the emergency rooms around the county, our knowledge of how to treat these patients has increased significantly. We know now ventilator is a last resort. Don't lay them on their back. Try to get people up, put them on the inversion beds. Watch for thrombosis. What we didn't know in the early days is this virus has a really unique capacity to embed itself in the capillary bed epithelial tissue and create small blood clots, and they get to your lung, and we have pulmonary thromboses. And so they're putting people on blood thinners out of the gate now, and just all those things are helping us just get better prepared. And so again, I'm always the glass is half full guy, but I think we're coming to a point where it's manageable, and I think the spike going down will continue.
Encouraging news. I knew you were the right guy to talk to.
Like I said, the glass is half full, but I do want to say, and you know this, the healthcare community here is incredible. And the response to this in Orange County is impressive. I have friends all across the country, and they always call me and say, what's going on there? You guys are really, because we really have beat the national averages across the board in almost every way. And so congrats to the community for taking this seriously, wearing their mask, doing the things they can. And I think that, you know, hopefully the vaccine this fall this thing will be it'll always be with us, it looks like, but it'll be more like the H1N1 flu every year than it's going to be a deadly pandemic forever. So there's hope, and we just have to stay what we're doing until the vaccine's here. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, as always.
Well, thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back after this.
This is Dr. Trin from Irvine Clinical Research. I hope that during this pandemic that you're doing well and keeping safe. During these times, I want to let you know that we're still offering memory testing at no cost through Healthy Brain consultations. If you or your loved ones have concerns with memory loss, you don't need to leave your home to chat with me. We're offering these consultations online. Call us at 753-1663 to schedule your Healthy Brain consultation video chat. Thank you so much and take care.
At South County Lexus, we really are different. We're California's exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Lexus Plus is a new way of doing business. At a Lexus Plus dealer, you can expect an upfront, negotiation-free, hassle-free price right on the vehicle. The same price you'll find on our website, all the way through the transaction. At South County Lexus, we feel this is the way of the future, and this is the way the customer prefers to do business. South County Lexus, your exclusive Lexus Plus dealer. Different, just like you.
Envision, the eye doctor's #1 choice.
We are a community of surgeons and optometrists dedicated to helping you live better by seeing better.
We offer advanced lens options to fit your lifestyle. We also offer the latest in laser technology for cataract surgery. We are Envision, the eye doctor's #1 choice.
With clear vision, all things are possible. To schedule your appointment, contact us at 866-599-2740.
I wanted to share with you some local information, so we'll just go through a couple of different things. We're going to start off with tennis, and as you know, they are back up to doubles for tennis, pickleball, and paddle tennis. The hours are 7 a.m. to noon, and then again from 4 to 8, and they're going to stick with that for a while until, you know, maybe they can go back to opening it up all day. Reservations are required, and I believe you can make it 1 day in advance. Courts may be reserved in increments, and it's around an hour and a half. And you need to call 949-268-2481 for reservations and all the details. Now, the pools have changed a bit. Now, we have Pool 4 is now open. So, recreational and leisure use is the Pool 4. Then pools 2 and 5 are open, and those are for lap swimming and aquatic activities. Now, reservations are required for all of it. So you are allowed an hour and a half for either Pool 4, 2, and 5. And you need to call 949-597-4382, or you can send an email to swimreservations@vmsinc.org. Now, if you are in need of a book or a DVD and you haven't found what you're looking for online, you could always contact our village library. And the village library does have so much for you to check out. So you need to call 949-597-4274, or you could email lwvillagelibrary@yahoo.com. And then our last thing that I wanted to tell you about is, of course, our virtual recreation resource. Now, we try to compile all of the information that we share here on Village Television, and we put it on this website for you to be able to check it out. Now, in order for you to participate seeing that, you need to go to LagunaWoodsVillage.com website, and you would go to Amenities, and then you would click on Recreation and scroll down to the bottom, and they'll have the virtual recreation. Click there, and you would be able to get all of the various things that we have going on here in the community. as well as many of the items that we have shared with you here on our program this day. Now, let's go ahead and give you the answer to the question. But wait, before I give you let me read the question one more time. Question is, first I threw away the outside and cooked the inside. Then I ate the outside and threw away the inside. What did I eat? Now that's a tricky one. Corn on the cob. So you shuck it and then you cook it, then you eat it, then you throw it away. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed that one because it's kind of funny. So, all right, let's go ahead and share with you some additional information for your entertainment. We have some concerts to share with you for today. Now, these do cost a little bit of money. So the one is Melissa Etheridge, which is going to be doing a live stream. You go to etheridgetv.com and they're just going to charge you $10. Or you can do the one at 5:30 p.m. and that's Matthew West, matthewwest.veeps.com, and that's going to be $10 too. So some entertainment there for you. Then you could go to the Theater Guild presentation, which is Phil Duran live and in person on Zoom. Now, he was a screenwriter and producer for All in the Family, Sanford and Son, and Newhart. And he'll talk about his experiences, and then he will have a Q&A. So that should be fun. It will be done on Zoom. They will have, and he'll also perform 3 scenes from his new book, which is about a feisty grandma named Frida, and she came to the United States from the Ukraine. Now, you don't have to be a Theater Guild member. Anyone can join. So it's at 7 p.m. on August 19th, and you can email Barbara Powell at s2do@comline.com. And we also have one last thing to share with you real quick would be the movies at the Village, and they're having the drive-in movie theater on August 21st and August 22nd. And as we get closer to that, we will share that additional information with you. Let's take a look at our weather. Again, it is looking very nice for the week. Not too hot, not too warm, kind of just right if you ask me. Really good stuff. Wednesday, today, 77, 63. By Friday, we are going to be 76, 61, but we might creep up a little warmer over the weekend. Saturday, 78, 60, and Sunday, 77, 61. All right, well, have a great day in the Village today. You can always watch our rebroadcast at 12:30 and 5 p.m. We will be back here again tomorrow at 9 a.m., so join us then or watch us again at 12:30 and 5. Have a great day in the Village today, and stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
It's never too late to improve your health with exercise. Challenge yourself to get moving in the morning. Hi, I'm Susan Tuttle. I'd like to encourage you to tune in to Channel 6 each weekday mornings at 7:55. 30 minutes of daily exercise will add years to your life. What are you waiting for? Come join me.
The all-new 3-row Subaru Ascent. Room for up to 8 passengers. Choice of second-row captain's chairs or bench seating. Standard eyesight driver assist technology. Coming from Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Ascent. Love is now bigger than ever.
Irvine Subaru. Get your new Subaru here with 2 years complimentary maintenance included.
How well are your hearing aids helping? Look at these recent results. No hearing aids, 36% understanding. Current hearing aids, 64% understanding. New hearing aids, 96% understanding. We never recommend a new hearing system unless we know there will be a substantial improvement. Many times, the current hearing aids you're wearing can be reprogrammed to sound like new. Call us today at Advanced Ear Care for a free understanding test and tell them Stuart sent you.
Tip. Toss. Take action. Don't give mosquitoes a fighting chance.